I never know if it's going. It's not.
Talk really loud today, Ted.
Whoa, easy.
Deep and
Hey,
loud.
you're not really loud. You're just distinctive.
You know
have a
what?
Very
we
distinctive...
just lost half our listeners right there. That's how the
Yeah.
show opened, man.
Yeah, that's not
Fucking
cool.
killing listeners. That's it.
Why would anybody want that? And then
I'm a
show
target.
89 Mark just screeched like a lunatic.
I'm a target now, Matt.
You are a target.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know what? I'll go really fast and do it right. I'll just go right away into it. We have some updates.
Ted, what are you writing?
Yeah, Ted's writing his tips.
Yeah. Actually, I wrote one national day that I wanted, and then I just thought of another one that's even.
See how easy that is to change the topic?
You know what's I'm
That's
not,
all
I'm
I
not
have
gonna
to
stop.
do.
It's
Well,
written right
I'll
in
just
front
say
of me.
Ted again, and then it's over with.
Yeah.
Whatever you're trying to accomplish.
But no, that was funny because I reminded Ted that he had, because I said, Teddy, I'm going to give you a job and you're going to have come up with a national day that doesn't exist. And Ted, and I texted him this morning and he's just like, yep. And then he showed up today and he's like, I'll think of something.
What do I have to do again?
Yeah. And then he asked my favorite question. Do we have a guest?
Who let the dogs out?
You know we have a guest, right?
Yes.
He's looking. That's not
It's
fair.
Margaret Elisabeth from the Green Party.
Yes.
Welcome.
Yes, it is. All right. So quick updates.
Pre-welcome.
We get a pre-welcome. Mark, people
Yeah.
love your movie mention from last week, Electric Horseman.
Oh,
Yeah,
all right,
we got a
nice.
lot of feedback, and
All
people
right.
said they saw it,
I can't stop grinning right now.
and it's a nice. They said it's a good, fun movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
and they said Jane Fonda. One guy said Jane Fonda was hot.
She is.
Well, she was back in the day, back in the 70s when she, was making those movies. So she's a good-looking
Yeah,
woman.
yeah,
she was
she's-
married to Ted Turner from TBS. He owned TBS Sports Network that I think broadcast the Atlanta Braves. She was
He
married
did,
to him for a bunch of years.
CNN, TBS, TNT,
Remember Ted Turner, right?
Classics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He owned the first superstation, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Turner Broadcasting.
Hot Atlanta.
Yep,
Yeah,
Atlanta.
Hot Atlanta. That's when the Braves.
We're
he
winning
got
the
Braves
pennant.
on.
We're winning the pennant like every year. We're
Yeah.
just going to win the World Series.
Now, Mark, they did give you some love, but then they took that love back when many people mentioned that Samoa and Hawaii are not the same place. They're not the same.
Good eye, mate.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God.
I
Yeah.
mean, aloha.
That's
Yeah.
Australia.
Yeah. So that was. I thought that was pretty funny. There's a lot of people. I even sent you guys one of my favorite ones from one of the women. She said she grew up in Samoa.
Yeah.
She was born in Samoa.
Yeah.
She lived in Hawaii, and she wanted Mark to know that those two are different places. That she went someplace else when she. Yeah.
So I think the conversation was you said that Teo was.
Manti Te'o was Samoan, but he grew up on Hawaii.
Well, I said,
They're the
Yeah.
same thing.
no, I said,
Samoa
well,
is
if he's
Hawaii.
Samoan, I mean,
You said Samoa is Hawaii.
okay.
Don't get mad. Listen, don't
Hey,
get mad.
I'd rather be ignorant than stupid. So I don't know everything.
and what if you're
There's
both?
things I don't know.
Ted, have you
So-
mastered both?
We're live here. I'm just reading the script that you provide, Matt.
Oh yeah,
and
the
we
script
and
I
we
provide.
Yeah, so it's scripted. I read what you say. So if I look stupid,
It's because I
you know,
wrote it wrong.
if I'm ignorant, whatever.
So as I was typing, I went.
All right, I stand
Hawaii
corrected.
and
I know
Samoa,
Samoa.
they're
I know where
the same
Samoa is.
And-
I know
and-
they're two different
Yeah.
islands, but their cultures are
So-
very similar. There's a lot of similarities
There
between.
are. There
yeah,
are.
I mean
Oh.
they're all part of the
Area.
Hawaiian Triangle.
Pacific.
Hawaii,
yeah, the
Pacific
Pacific.
no, it's
Triangle.
the Polynesian Triangle.
Polynesian Triangle.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
But,
so I mean, it's
but
like,
a bunch of people said that one, maybe you should take a class.
okay, I
in
don't need a class.
geography.
I got it now. It's down. I
But-
need to go to
but you've
fucking
made-
school to learn the difference between
But you made
Samoa
several,
and Hawaii.
You made several.
What
I
kind
think
of
you
class?
do.
I already learned it. I'm
Okay.
good.
It's just like a
Okay, but you
geography
Okay,
made-
let's
yeah,
drop
but
this
no,
because
you
I'm
made
going to get
several.
really upset here.
Okay,
I
but-
made a mistake.
Okay. They also mentioned maybe you should get a map. Maybe
Right.
we could have a map on the show.
I'm the one that suggested that a month ago. And
Yeah.
you said that's a great
Yeah,
idea.
we should have a world
Where's
map.
the map
we
at,
should have
Ted?
a world map.
Ted, where's the
You know,
map?
I'm going to order a map on Amazon.
No, you're not. You're not.
Why wouldn't I?
Ted, when are you going to Zell me? Yeah, you're not going to do any of that stuff. Ted says a million. It's my favorite
do
thing.
owe you.
You're sitting at the bar and he's had a couple of drinks and then he just starts giving a list of things that he's going to do. All right, so listen, tomorrow what I'm going to do is I'm going to order 25 golf balls. I'm going to go ahead and get some new shoelaces. Matt, I'm going to get you a hat. I'm like, I don't want a hat. I'll get you 2 hats. And then he'll go through all these things. And then you see him like 3 days later. It's like, Ted, where's my hats? He goes, what? What hats? He goes, you don't want a hat? I go, I know, but you said you're going to give me a hat. He's like, no, I don't want no
You
hat.
want a Vice hat?
Yeah. No, I don't.
You want a toe? I'll get you a toe by 3 o'clock. All
Don't.
right.
What'd you do with that Crown box I got you? That Crown Royal box. Did it leave this basement?
It's down here somewhere.
No, I think you never left here.
Okay.
No, I think it's down here somewhere.
Yeah. He uses it for a footrest.
Oh, last week we also talked about toilets. And Teddy, you said that the toilet was invented by a Mr. Crapper.
Supposedly, I could be wrong.
Well, no. So he did not invent the toilet. He kind of added to it.
Yeah.
But the toilet was actually invented by Sir John Harrington.
Okay.
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 Now, here's something I didn't know. One of our listeners, Carlos in Houston, Texas, sent me an article, and you guys are not going to believe this. I didn't believe it until I looked it up. You guys know Megatron, Calvin Johnson from the Detroit Lions.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what Calvin Johnson did?
Got Samoa and Hawaii mixed up.
No, he's way too smart for that. Actually, he's way too smart for that. He went to Georgia Tech. Yeah. He invented a toilet.
Did you really?
Yes.
Wow.
So here's the thing. I'm not fucking with you. You can look it up. Him and a guy named Brad Davis, when he was back at Georgia Tech, this is absolutely true. Look it up immediately. Stop the show and let's look it up. He invented a toilet in places where there's little or no water, so that they could. It uses the sun's energy to kill the bad bacteria.
Yeah.
So that people in countries where they don't have any water or have very little can safely go to the bathroom without infecting, like the water system
That's a
and
great
all that
idea.
stuff around.
Yeah.
He did that while he was in college.
That's pretty. Did he
Which a
patent it?
buddy named.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't know.
Did he
What-
patent
This
that?
might, they have waterless toilets already all around right now.
and it
They're
could be
not
from him.
flush toilets. They just, I mean, you
Well,
piss
this
in-
uses the sun's energy to actually kill the
Wait,
bacteria.
These are urinals. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
they're not
What-
toilets.
what's
I'm
the-
talking about urinals.
What's the toilets they use in the tiny homes? Like they use compost with some of them, the ones that don't have.
Some of
like
them do
these-
that.
some
They
of these
dry
tiny
it out
homes.
and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But yes.
I told you
compost
my
is-
in-laws in Southern Illinois have a outhouse, and it's a compost. It's an outhouse. It's
Yeah.
the same concept.
So compost is that?
Oh, wait. I left my banjo upstairs. I'm supposed to play banjo music and talk about Southern Illinois, right?
See, now you're confusing Arkansas and Mississippi with
No, Southern Illinois. Listen, I'm telling you right now.
Here, listeners, please get on Matt.
Nope.
There's no banjos in Southern Illinois.
There's no difference between Southern Illinois and Arkansas. Once you get
You're
50
out of your
miles,
mind.
once you get 50 miles south of Chicago, they're all just
actually,
hillbillies.
you know what? True story. I wasn't.
Wisdom teeth is the difference.
I was somewhere in Southern Illinois years ago. Where was the Archer Daniels Midland factory or Caterpillar headquartered? Like not DeKalb,
That's
but
in Bradley. That's in Peoria.
Peoria.
Okay,
You
it was
went
somewhere-
there?
No, it was Decatur. I went to Decatur years ago for a bowling tournament, and you know what? And actually,
the fuck,
that
dude?
I'm sorry, and that felt like more deep south. That did feel like the I was in the
Decatur?
deep, yeah,
It's
I was.
not even.
I felt like I was in the deep south,
It's not even south.
wherever it was.
What?
Decatur is not that far south.
Decatur's pretty far south. It's pretty hillbilly. I'm telling you, man. Once you get outside Chicago, they all have accents.
Union County is south.
Yeah.
It's like all the way by Tennessee. It borders Tennessee. Like
Yeah.
the southern part of Southern Illinois, Union County is the end county, I think.
I have no idea.
wherever
I
Decatur-
just know if you go to like a wedding or something, outside of Chicago, it's cousins marrying
Yeah, Decatur.
cousins.
Well,
God,
when I was in
all right.
Decatur, like I said, it felt like more like the deep south than when I was actually in the deep south. So I was in Huntsville,
What?
Alabama, and then I was in
No.
Decatur, and Decatur felt like more deep south than the deep south when I was there.
I'm
saying.
terrified to I think about
I did
what
smoke.
you might have done.
I did smoke some pot back then, so I don't know. I could be my
Some
perception. My perceptions could be skewed.
Oh my God! So Ted's Mark. Any chance Ted's life story was deliverance?
Can we start over?
Yeah, please,
Please.
Yeah, we never edit until now. Here we go. I'm hitting the rewind button.
You're taking the mouse off the treadmill and putting them back in the front of the treadmill to restart the show.
What? A mouse?
Yeah.
No,
Gerbil.
no, rats.
Oh, rats.
So I saw a rat in my backyard. I got 2 big ass traps.
Jeez.
Yeah,
So is
See,
Chicago?
I told you, man.
Chicago,
Rat-
Chicago has more rats than New York City.
Rats.
Hard to
Dude, I'm
believe.
telling you, it's bad.
rats. It was bad.
And your neighbor killed 2
Oh,
rats recently.
Yeah,
right?
he's got a couple of rat
Ted,
traps.
there's something. I'm gonna tell you. You mentioned rats. There's something going on with squirrels right now.
Yeah.
Something's gonna happen. Hey, listen, let me tell you
Yeah, I
2
agree.
stories. Okay, Saturday night, I'm out in my backyard. 10:00 at night. It's dark, right? It's already nighttime.
sure.
Squirrels aren't out at nighttime.
Yeah.
I'm in my backyard. I get up, and we've been talking about rats, right? Squirrels don't come out at night.
They don't come out at night.
No, God no.
Well, the freaks come out at night. I don't know what squirrels.
But we were
okay?
talking about rats, and we have a lot of rats. So I hear something scurrying behind the hose caddy, and I look, expecting to see a rat or a possum or raccoon or something. It was a fucking squirrel, man. And he wasn't right. He was like gingerly walking, like he was confused, dazed and confused. Came right up to me and looked at me, and I was like, "What the hell?"
Cocaine squirrel.
No, he was moving slow, like marijuana.
Squirrel.
And he just kind of wandered around my backyard, and I called my wife. I'm like, "Hey, come here, check this out." And he's just wandering around at 10:00 at night, and then he's going slow. I mean, like slow, like a turtle pace. And he just kind of like, it took him like 5 minutes to go I don't know, like 20
So you
feet to
think
get
he
out
was-
of my yard. And then on the way to your house, on the way to the show, in traffic, at a light, cars, 4 cars in front of me, 4 cars on the side of me. A squirrel,
One was driven by a
a
squirrel.
squirrel walked into traffic gingerly, slow. I mean, like just walking at a slow pace, not a squirrel's hop, a hop they run around. He
Right.
was moving slow. He was in traffic, Matt. We're all sitting
Did
there
you
at the red
recognize him
light.
from your house?
It looked just like that squirrel. But I'm sitting there, I'm like, this is crazy. Something's going on with the squirrels right now.
No, but there's actually 2 squirrels on my street that's like roadkill. They're like dead. They got hit by cars like within like a half a block
Because
from my
they're
place.
walking so slow.
No,
Dad.
I mean there's just
I don't know
there's
what's
so many.
going
I mean they're rats. I mean they're like just rats with furry tails. But yeah, there's like an epidemic of squirrels.
Yeah,
I mean they're everywhere.
We have tons of squirrels
Yeah.
because my neighbor feeds them, but that's why we have them.
Yeah.
But I've never seen this
well, they
type
don't.
of behavior.
They don't have any natural predators. Is the problem? We need to get some cats. We need to get some feral cats out
All right.
there.
Welcome to Squirrel Talk. Yeah, it's exciting. Yeah. Are the squirrels by your house uprising? Is it possible the world will be controlled by squirrels?
I like those red squirrels all over Notre Dame University campus.
Oh, those are nice.
What?
Yeah, they're like red.
Yeah,
They're
because
like red fox squirrels. Or I don't know what they're
Yeah,
called,
then
but
there's, like,
they're
black
red. They're like
squirrels.
burnt red. They're really cool.
Yeah, you've seen
Oh
them.
my God, the
No,
black
I
squirrels
haven't.
are unbelievable. Do you see all the black squirrels in Pioneer Park? They're gorgeous. They're like pitch black.
What is happening with you? You know what? No, we're not going to talk about squirrels. You want to talk about the worst thing that could ever happen? Way worse than squirrels and rats.
Go on.
You ready?
I'm listening.
I have 2 RoboVacs. Okay, you know those ones you start them and they just go. You know the little robot.
Oh, yeah,
circle
yeah,
things.
yeah.
Okay. Now you know my dad's dog. Oh, this is so bad. This happened yesterday. I was so pissed.
Bailey?
Yeah. So my dad's dog is having bathroom problems.
Yeah.
And has been shitting in the house. You ready?
Oh,
So
no,
I had
you gotta
both-
throw the thing away.
I had both RoboVacs working yesterday, and I run upstairs to go take a shower, and I guess I just missed the dog taking a dump, and both RoboVacs went through the shit and tracked shit all over my house.
Oh
dude,
my
That's
God,
called the
dude.
law of unintended consequences.
You know what? I would have loved to have a video when I came downstairs and
Oh
just
no.
started. I think I moaned. I think it's why?
No, I never thought about that.
Yeah. Okay.
Not
so
just with pets, but anything that gets on there just gets
Yeah.
tracked around your whole house.
Yeah.
so are you ready?
like splattered.
So,
Well, no, it didn't get
so are
splattered.
you are you moving?
So both RoboVacs are in the garbage. They're literally.
I was going to say, yeah,
they're
you
covered
have to
with
throw
shit.
them out.
They've been
Right.
compromised.
You
yeah.
ready?
They've been compromised.
all the rugs in the house gone. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I was on my hands and knees
Yeah.
cleaning shit.
Just got to tear it up. Tear it
Just
all up.
It was all hardwood
blow
floor.
it up,
No,
yeah.
it was all hardwood floor,
okay,
except
yeah.
for the throw rugs. Yeah, it was, dude. It was.
I saw Bailey hitchhiking out on Harlem Avenue.
Mark, I wanted to kill that dog so bad. It was one. Here's the funniest thing. It was one pile of shit. That was it.
What did
Just
you do to your dad?
that
Because
he
this
got
is like
revenge
him.
on me.
This is like your dad's revenge on you right now in the afterlife. Right
Dude.
now, he's looking down, saying, "Yeah."
you can't even imagine. It took me.
Robovac,
Well, I mean, have you ever stepped in dog shit?
activate.
Yeah.
How, I mean,
Well,
just
well,
one,
you ready?
one little piece of dog shit. I mean, it smells, and it's like impossible. I mean, like you can get it off your shoe, but the smell is somehow still there no matter what you do. You
So-
can hose it off.
So after all of that, after hours of bleaching the floor and just over and over mopping and
it's
bleaching,
like you're cleaning up a crime scene.
right? This morning I went outside in the backyard. There's one. Hold on, you ready? There's one rug in my house that because the door was closed, it didn't have any shit on it. I go outside this morning. I step in a pile of shit. I walk in,
You stepped
and there's 3 footprints on this rug. Big, and here. So I walk back out. Right, I take my shoes off. I throw them in the yard.
Yeah.
I just whip them in the yard. I'm
Yeah.
so pissed. I roll up the carpet and I throw it away with the rest of them. On the side of my house are like 5 carpets that are just garbage.
Dude,
Right
you're having a real shitty day.
Dude, it was.
That you know what?
Maybe-
How long did it take you to come to the conclusion that you're going to throw those Robovacs out?
It's no time. I
Yeah.
picked them up and I looked at the bottom.
Oh, yeah, they're
and,
compromised.
and
yeah.
as I got a nice big whiff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Inside,
Yeah.
covered all over.
Just
I mean,
picture
every-
dog feces covering every possible mechanical conveyor belt.
Yeah. Ted,
Sensor.
even if you clean those things and they were
Yeah,
like
never.
FDA
take
certified,
it
like
apart
cleaned,
and use
you
a-
would never
use a
be able to look
Q-
at them the same
You're
or
gonna use a
use them.
Q-tip.
You'd always
You're gonna
think
use a
like
Q-tip on it.
No, there's no way.
Special tiny
no way.
instruments.
And of course, Cheryl comes home. She's like, "Could I clean him?" And I'm like, "If you want to go get him out of the garbage, you can do whatever you want." I go, "But they're never coming back in this house." I go, "You can use them for the
It's
backyard."
probably cheaper to just buy new ones.
No, dude. I immediately did too. But Man, I texted.
How are you going to
texted her,
stop this from happening?
No more RoboVac.
Yeah.
Well, we got to put the dog down. Not for that.
Yeah.
It's sick and
No, I know. I saw him.
yeah. So it's probably got another week left. So I just won't run the RoboVac
yeah.
for a week. But yeah,
Poor
that
Bailey.
sucks,
It's a
yeah.
good
but
dog.
man, you could not blind rage. I was in a blind.
Yeah.
think I heard you.
After I was
I
done
was in-
crying.
I was in Indiana today. I think I heard you.
So you literally stepped in shit, and we're surrounded by shit all day long. Is what you're
The last
trying
2
to say.
days. The last 2 days. Yeah, from like 3.
Steeped
Yeah.
in feces.
Oh, you ready? You ready? So we got long curtains in the front.
Oh no.
Two RoboVacs going. They each got caught in
With the shit on
one
them?
curtain.
Yeah.
One curtain on each side got caught. So we had to take all the curtains down
Yeah.
and wash
All right,
them.
dude, this is going on.
No, the
This
best
is-
would be if
What
somehow
else?
the RoboVac
No, that's it.
malfunctioned and actually just like splattered.
Ted, the couch.
feces.
The couch is gone.
Just went, just like on a fan.
It's dude, I was livid, man. But no, listen, I ended up throwing away with everything. I probably ended up throwing away $1,000 worth of shit.
Yeah.
The RoboVacs and all the rugs.
Yeah.
And
Now
stuff.
we need a new sponsor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
no kidding. It's the Lysol disinfectant. Oh man, yeah, that was pretty ugly. All right, enough shit. No, squirrels, rats, and shit. I think we got it covered now. All right, let's roll
Like an
this
extermin-
thing.
You're like
Well, I think
professional
we
exterminator.
did jump the shark today.
Oh man, we sure did. And we landed. You know what? I landed right in there, and the shark, instead of eating me, just took a shit up.
So basically, you just stepped in shit. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
All right,
Literally and figuratively.
What's that line? I am in a world of shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
Or no, what's the movie?
Hamburger Hill
No,
or-
the line from Full Metal Jacket. He goes, "It's a big shit sandwich, and we all have to take a bite." Except you took 2.
man.
You ate the whole thing.
I honestly washed my hands 15 times yesterday.
I
just
would have too. Yeah.
That's just an odor.
yeah, and they still
Yeah, it's
they
just
still smell like bleach.
it's
They still smell like
Your
bleach.
hands always smell like bleach.
It's no lie. It's a lie. It's the lie. Yeah, from the yeah.
Oh, our website, voteforted.com, FORE4, and the real3idiots.com with the number 3. We have that picture of a caption of Fonzie jumping the shark.
Oh, I like that.
should check
I like
that out.
that. Oh, you know what? I got a little story about that, but we'll save it for next show. Hey, everybody. My name is Matt, and this is the Real 3 Idiots. Happy National Situation Awareness Day. Yeah, this is a day when you pay attention to what's happening around you. And maybe don't run 2 RoboVacs when your dog takes shits
That's
in
what
the
this
house.
was prompted. I'm gonna find one that fits my days.
Yeah, there we go. With me, as always, is a man who has some very good ideas, but I would never tell him about that. Mark. Don't look at me,
Oh,
Ted.
I thought he was gonna say Ted too.
No, look at Ted. Ted was
Holy
looking at me
crap.
like,
We're going to promote the best guy for the job, Mark.
yeah, yeah.
Ted got excited
Ted,
because
you were
that's like
terrible.
a compliment.
Ted, your ideas are 99.9%. No, 102% terrible.
They're non-starters.
Yeah, your ideas always revolve around winning the lottery. That your idea, winning the lottery.
Actually, you're right.
I was just going to mention that for my opening intro, so you just
I
ruined
don't
that
think
for me.
'cause today's Tuesday.
Yeah.
So we have the Powerball and the Mega Millions on Monday and or Tuesday, whichever ones those two fall on. But it's every Monday and Tuesday. There's a big ticket lottery thing going on. We end the show every time we end the show. Ted has to
Well,
mention.
I'm actually going to start the show with that because you actually just took the win out of my
ahead.
sales. But I was going to say when you introduced me, but you don't have to now. I was just going to say,
I will. Can I introduce you real fast?
sure, officially.
And the other guy is Ted.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
So my plan is, folks, audience members, potential fans, I am going to be resigning my position effective immediately if I win the Powerball tomorrow night, which is worth $825 million. And if I don't, I'll see y'all next Tuesday.
What's tonight?
Bullshit. We're still
Tonight's
doing
Mega Millions, right?
Teddy. We're still doing the
Mega
show.
Millions is only $200 million. That's chump change. We need $825 million.
No, what? Yeah, because taking home what 70 million wouldn't be enough.
I couldn't feed my family with $70
I just won
million.
the lotto.
How many
I won the
how
lotto.
many families do you have? Weird guy from the 1950s. All right, Ted. I gave you a job to come up with a national day that we could all get behind and celebrate. And what is your idea, sir?
It's a dumb idea, but I had to say it.
Of course it is.
I've just been looking at the news recently, and I had an epiphany. National Fake Coaches Day. National Fake Coaches Day.
What?
So
Fake coaches.
I'm perusing Yahoo News, Google, and obviously they're talking about the Ryder Cup, for example. So Scotty Scheffler, who's supposedly the number 1 golfer in the world, is not putting very well, so he has a putting coach. So there's an older guy in his 60s wearing like a ID card, because he's allowed behind the ropes, with the stars, and he's giving Scotty Scheffler putting lessons. And I'm just trying to think, what could this guy possibly be telling Scotty Scheffler that he can't figure out by himself? Put the ball. There's the hole. Here's the ball. Put the ball in the hole. Dumbass.
It is. It is kind of weird. Like
mental coaches.
I know guys have like basketball guys have shooting coaches.
Yeah.
And football guy. They have kicking coaches.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a kicker, and you're not kicking well, I'm pretty sure a coach isn't gonna be like, oh, you missed the ball.
Yeah.
Or
mental coaches. So, for example, it seems like most of not all the guys on the Ryder Cup team have a mental coach. So there's a guy who presumably, I don't know what they do, but they follow him around and just say, you're good enough and you're smart enough, and God darn it, people like you.
Oh, is that Smiley?
Stuart Smalley.
Smalley.
My favorite one is when Stuart Smalley was interviewing Michael Jordan. He goes, Michael, do you ever worry about not putting the ball in the basket? And Michael Jordan said, no, I actually never thought about that. You ever worry about not scoring any points, Mr. Jordan? He goes, no, that never crossed my mind.
You know what? I can almost see it in golf sometimes because you can get down. I mean, we've all done it. We're like, oh, I'm not, so I guess, with billions or hundreds of millions of dollars on the line and everything, maybe you just need somebody to say, you're super special. And you go, I am, you're right.
Wait a minute, is that what you needed when I beat you on Sunday?
Yeah. Yeah, you played well. You played very well.
All right.
And you weren't coached as far as I could see. So
no, I didn't have a mentalist or a psychologist.
Are you sure you weren't listening to an audiobook about golf on the way to?
I might have had something.
Okay, yeah. Stuart Smalley, or was it Bob Rosetta?
All right, so let me do my.
But hang on, you know what? So Ted, you had a national day, right?
Yeah.
And you know what's ironic?
Fake coaches.
No,
day.
but today is also National Johnny Appleseed Day. And
it is.
What did I bring you?
An apple. Multiple
3 apples.
Yeah.
You like apples? You like them apples?
He was a real person, by the way.
Yeah, Johnny Appleseed.
Yeah. Today was his.
He was a fake. Wasn't he a fake coach?
It's like fake news.
I have no idea.
He used to coach that sport where you put the apple on someone's head and you try and shoot it off with a bow and arrow.
Yeah,
that's a sport.
So here's my question: If I wanted to hire a mental coach for anything, like say I'm golfing, I want to hire a mental coach.
After listening to this show, no one would take the job. It's a fail.
How much
it's a straight fail.
How much would they charge me, and what would they tell me? Because obviously, it's not like an actual physical lesson about golf. So, what would they actually tell me that I couldn't ascertain by myself?
So you're challenging me to get a mental coach.
Get a mental coach. I'm not gonna.
But I think you're right, though. I think that
I'm not gonna mock them. I'm not gonna mock them if they come on. But I'd be really curious to see, like, number one, how much do they charge? Because I'm sure they have some high net worth clients. And then, what do they actually tell these people? What's the secret? What's the secret sauce they tell these people that these people are not privy to until this person comes along? That's what I want to know.
Okay, no, I mean I'm sure we can find
inquiring minds want to know.
No, you know what we'll do? We'll find a shitty low end mental coach.
Yeah,
somebody who would coach likes of
kind of like so say Tony Robbins is like he's like he's top of the food chain motivational speaker. We need almost like a Matt Foley bottom of the barrel motivational speaker.
Down by the river.
Yeah,
I think you're. I think though that each Ryder Cup team does have.
I'm sure they do.
For the team, like they have somebody like a team.
But each player, has their own.
Probably have a guy that comes in.
I think they have a guy for the team.
Okay.
For each team has somebody that's going in or saying, "Hey, what are you thinking?"
Yeah, there's probably
we need you on the greens here. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking I want to miss this putt, embarrass myself in front of millions of people, and be the laughing stock of my peers. Thank you very much. Or I could just make the putt.
You know who would be a good coach like that?
Who's that?
Our guy.
Oh,
to my
Me?
left.
You'd be a good coach.
Matt, yeah.
No, I'd be a terrible coach.
No, you're not. You're really good.
I would be a terrible.
I was
coach.
actually.
All right, can we get to this because our
guest
is going to be on very soon, and we got to get to your tip.
Right.
Okay, let's get to our sponsor. Bud Light is proud to announce that they are ready to bring back all the folks that have recently chosen to drink other beers. Bud Light wants to be number one again, and they are coming out with the newest beer cans and bottles anyone has ever seen. Say hello to the Bud Light Guns and Grenades beer cans and bottles. That's right. The new cans will be shaped like your favorite pistols, rifles, rocket launchers, and bazookas. The folks at Bud Light have decided that common sense and understanding doesn't make money. So this fall, when you grab a beer and watch a game, pull the trigger on a Bud Light and leave compassion and empathy in the cooler.
I think Bud Light's a real thing.
Yeah, Bud Light is a real thing. They pay for it. I read it.
This is huge.
Yes.
Forget about the Robovax. You're going to have Mr. Belvedere.
Mr. Belvedere?
Dude, you're going to have a real...
Wait, Mr. Belvedere?
Oh, he was a butler.
Cartoon guy?
No, he was a butler.
All right, sing your song, and let's get to that tip, because I'm fairly confident our guest does not want to hear any of this, but she's going to be forced to. So,
you know that Ted destroys the tip. Tip divides the show. Drink the crown, swallow your pride. Tip on through to the other side. Tip on through to the other side. Tip on through to the other side, yeah. To tip our listeners here. Chased is edible there. But can you still recall the time he cried, is this the hill you choose to die on now? Tip on through to the other side. Tip on through to the other side, yeah. Everybody loves our Teddy. He get high, yeah. Tip it, Teddy.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Wow.
That was a lot of
Holy
there's
cow.
there's a lot of vigor and panache.
You got a little Morrison in you right
Oh,
there.
man, I love Jim Morrison. I really do.
Yeah.
Actually, that just inspired me. We should have a new segment on the show, the Hill to Die On segment. Is this the hill you choose to die on segment?
Okay. All right. here.
All right,
Think
bring it
about-
up at the next,
Because think about it,
next show meeting.
most people go. I mean, like most people go through life, and there's nothing wrong with it. Like I don't really have any strong opinions about like anything. But let me just ask you this: Is there
What?
is there something?
He doesn't.
Is there
He's
some?
right.
Is there something
don't
out
think
there
that's true.
where it's just like a stopper? Like you will just like hell no. This is. I'm adamant about whatever this is.
Like
and I will
Lauren
defend it.
Boebert, like
Defend
Lauren
it.
Boebert,
Like Beetlejuice.
The hill she chose to die on was that theater right there.
It's called Denial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get to the tip here. Ted, this is from Jennifer. She's 25 in Philadelphia, PA.
Hey Jennifer, shout out.
Yeah, shout out to Pennsylvania. I got relatives down there. They might all be dead. I don't know. I need your help. I work in a very small company, 4 people, and I'm the only woman. I love my job, and I'm making an extremely good living. My boss is a sexist dick, and it's not getting better. I need him to scale it down about 90%. I absolutely don't want to get any outside people involved. He's older, and he won't be around forever, but it's getting really tiresome. Before I go this is my favorite. Before I go scorched earth and find some belladonna or nightshade, I need a few things to try to get him to change his behavior. Help.
Hey, Jennifer, thanks for the tip. Appreciate it. Hey, we recommend not going scorched earth and using poison because if you look at that lady from Utah, she's in a shitload of trouble for doing the same thing. Oh, you heard about so basically, just on a side note, they just found some letters in her cell, and she's pretty clever. She's a pretty clever she-wolf. So basically, they found these letters in her cell that she's basically trying to witness tamper her own mother by having her give false testimony to say that her husband, who she allegedly killed with fentanyl, went to Mexico to buy the fentanyl.
So he bought his own
bought his own murder weapon, and then when she got busted, because obviously all letters in prison or jail are screened, of course. So when they found the letters, incriminating letters, she basically said, "Oh, this is part of my new nonfiction book or my new fiction book that I'm writing." And
But
basically
we don't want this to happen to Jennifer.
and basically accuse everyone of being a dumbass
Okay.
for not knowing that. So she's
Ted,
a good one.
help Jennifer.
Yeah, okay, Jennifer. Okay. It's a 4-person company. That's a pretty small company. You're the only woman, so I'm guessing there's 3 guys, and one of them is your boss. Okay, so there's 2 guys and you and your boss. Now, you said, my boss is a sexist dick, and it's not getting better. Now, obviously, and you said he's older than you. You didn't say how much older. Let's assume he's just making inappropriate comments, maybe not even directed to you, but just in general about women and folk in general. There's the easiest thing to do. It's the kind of the puss way to get out of it, but you could just simply start looking for a new job on Indeed, because like I said, the best time to look for a new job is when you already have a job.
Ted,
Again,
I'm making an extremely good living. That was hers.
Yeah.
She's not gonna leave that.
Assuming she can't, but there are other opportunities out there. So I'm just saying the best time to look for a job is when you have a job. So you could be doing that concurrently. But here's what you're gonna do while you're there, without confronting him directly, because it's such a small, insular company. It doesn't seem like there's an HR department. I'm guessing you might want to just start recording your boss's behavior on your cell phone.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. See, now
Video
this is the
and
tip I like.
audio. And then you might want to kind of leave little reminders to him what he's acting like without him having to know it's coming from you, kind of in a roundabout way to say, hey, we know what you're doing. And then if you have to go scorched earth, you could always make it viral and just, to kind of modify his behavior,
Wow. So like send them random emails with the video saying like Happy Harassment Day.
Happy situational awareness day.
Yeah, just
you didn't know I was recording you.
Love the HR department.
So basically, he sounds like he's a guy. He's still stuck in 1953 without realizing it's 2023. So, like I said, maybe he's a product of a bygone era where he thinks it's okay to do that. So, people like that, maybe they have to be gently reminded that they live in a different time now. And so the way to do that is through some positive or some negative reinforcement in his case, to let him know that, hey, bad behavior, unfortunately, is not tolerated in the workplace these days. Times have changed, and we got to change with them.
That's an understatement. She's holding all the cards.
Yeah. And plus,
Yeah.
like I said, I mean, he has to have some semblance that, the day and age we live in, like if he got sued for, like, say, sexual harassment, assuming you have the documentation. So I would just say, number one, document everything. Don't confront him necessarily. Just document it all. And then if it does reach a head at some point, you have the documentation that you can, gently advise, hey, this is what I have. And if he tries to do anything negative to you, I'm not using the word blackmail, but you could basically kind of.
Wouldn't that be extortion?
I
believe.
Blackmail. Yeah, you could gently just coerce him in a nice way, just saying, hey, sir, with all due respect, I know you're the boss, but this issue's bigger than you, and let me gently remind you of all the other bosses such as yourself who've gone down with the ship for exhibiting bad behavior. So maybe that
just do professional sports owners.
I honestly thought that Ted was going to.
Yeah, Donald Sterling.
I thought his answer was going to be. I thought his
Yeah.
answer was going to be cougar in the car. Put a cougar in his car.
But what if he drives better? What if he learns to drive better?
Of course, he's going to drive better, but he's still going to be scared.
Wow.
Yeah, because
Who
I was
wouldn't
going to say,
drive better?
How scary would that be if you were doing something and you didn't do it, and then somebody, whoever, just was like, if I press this button, everybody sees what you've done for the last month.
yeah, because you know what I was going to say?
That would be pretty
I
scary.
would say do an intervention with the other two coworkers, but you don't know if they're going to rat you out because, like I said, it's such a small company. And say basically there's only two guys. I'm assuming there's two guys, you and your boss. So basically you have to get these two guys on board to somehow talk to your boss, which seems like a non-starter. So I would recommend
Start with blackmailing them, start with blackmailing
So
them.
we all
then
have,
they can
we
jump
all,
on board.
We all have phones. Just like I said, just start doing some some recording where obviously your boss, if he's saying inappropriate things, it's going to be his voice on tape, that or on the phone. If there's some video of him doing some weird shit, you could get that as well, and then just kind of put a little catalog of the boss's greatest hits together, and then if it comes to it, just say, hey boss, I got something I want to show you that you might want to think about for the next time. So
And tell her to watch. What is it? Bad Bosses? What's that movie?
Yeah.
called?
Horrible bosses.
Horrible Bosses. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just say you're like Colin Farrell in that movie. You ever see that movie? Go watch that movie.
Yeah, we've seen that
See what
movie.
happened to him.
Movie.
1 and 2.
That is a great movie. All right, that seems okay. I mean,
No, I was looking for something better, Ted.
Well, I mean, you can't get
can
too
do better.
scary.
Well,
you know
we
what?
got to keep it practical. We don't want to
Yeah.
give like fantastical advice that doesn't really like apply. Like,
Who are you? Keep it practical.
No, what are we going to say? Put him on a spaceship and blast him off to Mars?
There. See.
Tie him up?
See, no. I wonder if our guest, who happens to be a woman and probably has to deal with this as a political party,
Yeah, she
because
could-
most, the way I see it is most political parties are filled with dudes, right? I mean, I don't see the Republican Party. I mean, I don't see when the Republican Party has to order, any special meals or any special things for women because I just don't see any. So Margaret, let me ask you this: does that sound like a viable thing to do? Recording somebody and then kind of holding it over their head and blackmailing them?
Not blackmailing, but just modifying their behavior if needed. So
It's not blackmail. I guess we've sort of established that.
because you're not asking for anything.
is
You're
it
not saying you're going to pay me if I don't show this. You're going to say, hey, boss, your behavior is inappropriate, and maybe you're not aware of what you're doing, but we need to make people aware. Unfortunately, with your bad behavior, just FYI. So
Okay.
I mean, that's true. I think there's a lot of sexism in the workplace, and it's really difficult to deal with. And probably having a video of somebody's bad behavior is the way to go, especially in a small situation. I was listening to the podcast, just in and heard the scenario. So yeah, I think probably recording is a safe way to do it, especially if you want to confront people and have them change. Because I don't know when the last time you told somebody to stop being an asshole to you, but sometimes people take offense to that, and they will be more of one.
Yeah.
So
That's
Well, here's,
yeah.
here's what I've learned over time. Like, people who are assholes or are true assholes don't know they're assholes. So it's like, for example, normal people can be an asshole, but they're aware they're assholes. But then the real assholes don't know that they're assholes.
I don't.
And I feel kind of bad for them.
I don't
so.
believe that. I think they feel. I think most people who are just really like the worst people. I think they're just okay with it. They just say that this is the way I. No,
Yeah.
you know how many people. I mean, Margaret, you've probably run into tons of people like this. It's like, oh, you know what? I just like to say it the way it is, and that's just somebody's way of being mean to you, right?
Well, those
Yes.
are those are narcissists. People who have those like buzzwords like it's not my problem. I just call it like I see it. All that bullshit.
Yes.
Those are toxic.
The brutal truth.
Those are toxic. Those are toxic. I have no filter. Those are all toxic
Yeah.
personalities. We all do it.
Hey, we're talking politics already. All right.
Oh, man. All right. Well, let's introduce our guest. Our guest today is Margaret Elisabeth. She is the co-chair from the steering committee of the Green Party of the United States of America. Margaret, welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me on.
Wow, this is pretty crazy. And I kept saying to myself when you said yes, I kept saying to myself, why? Why? I mean,
you must have begged with some good tears in your eyes,
you know what? I do. I'm saying, if you don't come on, no one will ever listen to us. It's just the three of us being stupid.
You have a little snot under your nose just for visual effect,
Yeah. Okay, so
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, so I say, Margaret, I ask everybody, come on, and we had the the Democratic Party of America. Damn it, I already forgot who they were.
They were.
Of the American Independent Party of California on, and I asked him to give us the short version of what what they do, and he started reading all this stuff and doing all this. So without reading a manifesto. Give us the short version of the Green Party real quick, just to get us started, so we have an idea so people have an idea what we're talking about.
Yeah, so the Green Party of the United States is a member of a global federation of political green parties, right? In every country of the world, basically. So we're the American version of it, and our focus is climate justice. That's the core mission, right? We want to not just raise awareness. Obviously, we can look outside the window and see climate catastrophe happening. So it's not an awareness raising thing. We need to move from knowing about it to taking action. And we essentially are the electoral arm of that kind of movement, right? There's people acting in the streets, right? Going to buildings and trying to stop pipelines and all the rest of that. And we're the electoral part of that same effort. So we're the that's that, I suppose. We do some other stuff, but that's the core of it.
Wow. See, and well, now here's the thing. I'm going to throw Teddy under the bus. He doesn't believe in any of this stuff.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, Ted, you've said it a million times.
I was actually going to say something when it's my turn to talk.
It's your turn to talk.
Okay, I was just going to say there are some people, I don't use the term climate. I mean, there are obviously climate deniers, but then there's just people who are just generally skeptical because the climate's always changing. I mean, for example, and I gave this example on the show like several episodes ago. In 1979, Time magazine came out with an article that says we're in an ice age. The climate was in an ice age, and then 20 years later, we're in a global warming situation now. And so for example, if you look at the dinosaurs that predates all of us, something obviously catastrophic happened to them due to the climate before any human was ever on Earth. Yeah, I don't dispute that littering, factories dumping mercury into the water, of course, it's bad for the environment, of course, the ozone layer, but how much does humans affect the climate versus just the natural changing environment? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So
I think that's a fair critique of the situation, to be honest.
Humans exacerbate the situation, no doubt about it, but are we causing the imminent destruction of the planet due to our activities? And for example,
you just asked the question.
But here's the thing. But here's the thing too. Even if we do everything right, let's just say we recycle, we drive EV cars. China and India are the biggest polluters, and we have no control over them.
Well, this is true, but this is kind of one of those arguments where, like, okay, that person over there gets to do a thing. Why don't I get to do a thing too?
Sure.
It's a really sort of childish perspective.
Yeah.
We all have to act as globally responsible adults. We live on a planet that's connected.
Right.
I'm not individually by myself here.
Sure.
If you looked, I was watching a video yesterday of the capital of Greenland, Nuuk, and they have the Canadian wildfire smoke over top of their, capital right now. So, and it just looks like a big layer of smoke. This is unprecedented in our modern history, but not throughout the history of the world. Obviously, there have been massive volcanoes and disasters that have happened that produce climatic change on a catastrophic scale. What we're really talking about, though, is the impact of human industry in particular, right? Modern industrial output and what that is doing to our climate. Not to kill the planet. I think that's a weird kind of way to talk about it, because it's not going to do that, right? What it's going to do is just make it uninhabitable for the most of us. That's it. It's not going to kill the planet.
And I agree with you 100%. Yeah, for example, like if you look at the Amazon rainforest, that's something objective where, loggers are cutting down the natural environment for, hundreds and thousands of species that could be extinct. So yeah, I agree with you 100%. But on the flip side, let's look at someone who is kind of like a virtue signaling hypocrite, like an Al Gore or a
Oh
John
my God,
Kerry who
no,
lectures
no,
us about
no,
climate
no,
change.
no.
But their carbon,
Ted,
but their carbon
Ted,
footprint.
Stop.
It's
Sorry,
real.
Margaret.
Okay.
We've
No, that's
you know,
okay.
you haven't heard 89 shows, but we've heard this at least 15 times. We're not going to do the Al Gore flying around.
John
telling
Kerry
everyone-
doesn't own
no.
a private jet. Okay.
No, I will ask you this though: are we going to sue Canada for the wildfires? Is that possible? Can we sue them for having their wildfires? Because it really is. It's their wildfires.
I don't think we can.
Damn it.
I think that wildfire smoke is something we all get to equally enjoy together.
Okay,
They would sue us.
Or the recent
We've
Maui.
taken all their wildfire
the
smoke.
recent
that
Maui,
was there.
What about the recent
that's
Maui?
right.
The recent Maui wildfires. That was pretty calamitous.
Ted. Those
Yes,
those
it
are
was.
fine. Those are fine.
Yeah.
The Canadians were much worse.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. All right. So you guys have been around for a little over 30 years. Is that right? The party has.
Well,
The
in our
American
modern
one.
form,
Yeah.
in our modern form, about 23. We formed in 1999.
Okay. So right now, how many people do you have elected throughout America? An estimate.
I think when I last checked, and this was a couple of weeks ago, we have an elections database where we maintain all this information. I think there's 400 Greens who are currently elected, and 38 of us are running at the moment for various seats around the country. I myself was running here in Seattle for Seattle City Council. I didn't make it through the primary, so I'm not going forward in the general, but I think that's about how far we are into it right now. We run, there's a sort of critique that you hear a lot that the Green Party doesn't do anything except every 4 years. We run a presidential candidate and then we're just gone and we do nothing. But this is not a valid critique at all. We run candidates every single election cycle all across the country for all manner of office, from down to the lowest level of like dog catcher all the way up to governor. And we do it every single year. There's a big, look, let's just be honest about this. There's a lot of people in the United States who do not really understand how the government works. I don't mean like how a bill becomes a law, like in Schoolhouse Rock or something, but I mean how a political party gains ballot access. How you, an individual, might say, well, I want to run for office. What do I do? How do you do that? How do you find a place to find a political home and organize within and that sort of thing? And I think because Americans broadly don't understand this stuff, they don't really understand the nature of what a political party does. You can look at the big two, right? The blue team and the red team. They put on a bunch of showy debates for nobody other than themselves. And then they pat themselves on the back and they're like, hooray, look at us. The other parties don't really get a chance to do that. We don't ever have an opportunity to speak to the people directly because of, media blackouts and the sort of sidelining of third-party candidates that happens every election cycle. You're seeing it right now, even like it's starting after Cornel West, announced that he was going to be running with the Green Party. Now there's just a hit pieces and attack ads all over the place coming for Cornel in this weird sort of like they ignored him for all these years, but now he's running it, so now it's this. And it's the same thing. Well, why are you running a presidential candidate, but not these congressional candidates? But we do it every year, and it's a part of a process, and it's part of how we change the Overton window, like move it in the United States about what we're talking about in terms of climate justice and social issues and stuff like that. Sure, not everybody prioritizes things the same, right? Like not everyone has climate change as their number one issue, and that's fine. That's just how it is. But for us, it is, and that's the thing we're dealing with all of the time. So we organize around it, we talk about it, and we really try to bring home the point that, the changes that we have to make are not beyond us. We can engineer our way out of this. We can fix this situation. It isn't unsolvable, but we have to take action. We have to take it soon, and it has to be pretty bold steps. So incremental stuff isn't going to help.
So how do you get so when they have a debate at the end, when there's a Democrat and a Republican, how come you guys are invited on there? Why not?
Oh, wow. Okay,
We have to qualify for those debates.
This is one of those weird things in American politics. So they divide our political parties into three categories: new, small, and major. So we even though we've been around for 20 plus years, are a new party, because you're a new party until you reach 5% of the general vote for the presidential nomination. No other election matters. You have to reach 5% of the general to go from being a new party to a small party. Once you're a small party, you then qualify for federal campaign funding. The way that the two major parties have structured the debate, right? They own that. The debate is owned as a corporate entity by the DNC and RNC. So they have created the rules that only, and they say it like this: we invite all the major parties to be on stage. Well, there's only two. So that's where we are with that. To become a major party, we need to cross eventually over the 18% threshold.
Well, what they're doing is they're creating a de facto standard for you, because let's keep in mind, this is permanent Washington. So as I've said before, in my opinion, the Democrats and the Republicans, most of them are friends behind closed doors.
Oh, yeah.
If there's a threat to their perceived power, like say like a Donald Trump, whether you like him or dislike him, he's a threat to their perceived power. So there's obviously something so threatening about him that they feel they have to get rid of him by any means necessary, because he's, like I said, he's a threat to them. So like I said, wasn't Ralph Nader a Green Party candidate, if I recall? And he was,
he was our first one in 2000.
Yeah. So the critique with the Green Party or third party candidates is like, oh, if we run a third party candidate, it's going to take votes away from the Democratic, person running for president. That's always been the number one critique, but that defeats the purpose of you folks running. So it's like I said, unfortunately, it's a de facto standard. And I've always said this before: why do you have to spend $2 billion to apply for a job that pays $450,000 a year? That's another good question.
Well, it sounds like to me like what you're describing here is an impossible task to put somebody from the Green Party in the White House.
I don't think it's impossible.
Well,
but
if you need 5% just to get on the national platform, and you guys have less than 0.5% of, I mean, that's a monumental task.
What's your current percentage that you have?
I got it. So, okay. What I'm saying, what I think is, do you think that the Green Party would have more value as an lobbyist group like you've been doing? Because the Green Party has created a lot of law, a lot of things have come to pass because of the Green Party, right? Mm-hmm. You guys have accomplished a lot. Why is it important to have somebody in the White House?
It's not necessarily important to have somebody in the White House, but this is how ballot access works in the United States. So let's say that you've decided you want to run for Congress in your state, and you're going to run as a Green, okay? In order to be listed on your ballot as a Green candidate, the Green Party, has to run a POTUS candidate in 47 states. It has to be a 47 state effort. If we don't do it, then you don't get to list yourself as a Green on your ballot. You have to list yourself as an independent. This is why we run a presidential candidate every single cycle. So every single down ballot candidate is able to have their name listed as a Green.
But there's
now, it's of course a process, right? The last third party candidate who won was Abe Lincoln. And so it's not impossible in our country for third party candidates to win. There just needs to be a historic circumstance coming together.
That was a long time ago, right? That was a long time ago.
Yeah,
Abe Lincoln?
Depends on your historical perspective, I suppose. But
I guess
it requires a black swan event, right? A perfect storm of conditions to allow a breakthrough in the electoral process. And this is exactly the kind of situation that we have here with Dr. West running. We've never had a candidate that had that kind of gravitas outside of the political world, right? Ralph Nader did have it, but he had it within the political realm, which is why when, after the election, he got ostracized from Washington, D.C. and all the Democrats and everything. And his whole career basically went to shit with it because he was part of the insider machine.
Well, his political
Dr.
career.
West isn't. And he has a chance to really and truly speak to that vast, disaffected group of Americans who do not vote. Remember, in that last election, 47% of us who could vote didn't. We just stayed home. So my thinking on this is that, if you're on the red team, good for you. If you're on the blue team, happy trails. I'm trying to talk to all the people who stayed home because nobody represented them and they didn't feel like anybody was going to hold up their values. We will. That's who I want to get off the couch and go out there and cast their vote. And if we can do it, if we can get 5%, we'll get public financing, right? Right now, every election we do, we finance ourselves. It's donations by people like you and me. We don't take any corporate money at all, and we limit it to $300. That's it per person. And we run these elections all across the country every year, all the time, all on this kind of like shoestring budget. The ability to have matching federal funds for our election would be a complete electoral game changer. The only two parties who have it right now are the DNC and RNC, who of course don't need it because their fundraising efforts are so significant. They don't need matching funds from the federal government, but they get it anyway.
I did
So
not.
that's where we are.
I
It's
didn't
like,
know that.
I
you
did
know, we
not
have
know
to get
that.
across that
Interesting.
5%, and then we go to the next target.
Wait a
It's
minute. Are you saying?
strategic objective.
Are you saying if Donald Trump raises $25 million, the federal government gives him another 25 to run for president?
Yes.
Are you kidding me? What the fuck? Why are
Well,
we
there's a
do-
limit on the campaign matching, so you can raise far more than that, of course, if you want. But there's, you know, once you hit the matching limit, but yeah, they match it. So
Okay,
like,
I actually didn't know that.
what's that guy Bloomberg who spent $1 billion of
Oh,
his
yeah,
own money
yeah.
for a while? Of course, the federal government was matching those campaign funds. That is public campaign financing, right? And that is what we want generally in our country. So that way, every individual has an equal chance at running because we all get the same, whatever, let's say $10,000, right? Here's your $10,000 for your campaign. So we all get it. But instead, like if, you know, I'm running, I have to do it all in my own pocket. And if, you know, Bloomberg is running, he's a billionaire. So we're very, very outmatched.
Can
in terms of
change
money.
can change happen? Can change happen outside of politics? I mean, can the effort
Yeah.
and the energy and the money and the time spent trying to get into office, trying to get recognized as a political party, can't all that money, time, effort, and energy be put towards lobbying and creating awareness and making change that way? Because there's plenty of organizations out there that get, like, look at the NRA. I mean, they're to me, they're a horrible organization, but they get their way every year, year in and year out, by focusing on working Congress. You know, lobbying. That's how they get their way. Big industry, how do they get their way? Lobby.
And lobby means money. And where does money come from for NRA? Corporations. So as the Green Party eschewing corporate donations, we would never be in a really good position to be lobbyists. Who would we be lobbying for? I mean, just you and me, individual people. And individual people don't donate to lobby groups, as it turns out.
So
That's
yeah,
just
so you know what? That's
that
funny
fact.
because I was looking at that, and most of campaign donations are done by corporations and super PACs. Very few individual people actually donate any
Right.
kind of money at all to any kind of candidate.
Well,
it's
I mean,
it's a real challenge.
well, look how
So I
we're-
think that's, but like I guess to your broader point is like, would our organizing energy be better spent in a different milieu? And I don't think that's the case. So there are already plenty of climate focused activist groups in the United States who are doing really good work.
Yeah,
So
but
we would
being
just
in
be
government,
another one of those.
But it's not all about just climate. I mean, running the country, that's only a part of it. There's other
Well,
issues at
certainly,
stake. That's why you want to put some. I mean, you have to run the country. The climate issue is only a part of it.
yeah, it's a component, So, for example, you have to understand this. I mean, what's important to some people isn't important to others. So I think like you have to have the big picture view. It's like most people care about taxes, what's in their
Sure.
their paycheck, health care, crime, education. Climate's important too. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, but like we talked about this last week. Is that the hill you want to die on? It's just that one small segment, which, like I said, that could be important to some people, but you have to recognize that that might not be as important to other people. So you have to, if you want to win a general election, for example, you have to appeal to the masses.
But
what's
you
important to
guys,
everybody.
you guys have all that stuff. I mean, if you get on their website, you can see
No, I
all
saw
that.
that.
So
That's
so-
where I was going
all
with
right,
it.
so
There
let
are
me-
the
others.
platform and
Yeah, there
all
are-
the
I-
rest of that kind
yeah.
of stuff.
All right, so let's look at some other stuff real fast. Term limits. Do you guys support term limits for elected officials?
Yes. We
Yeah.
have term limits for our own internal elections as well.
Oh, look at that! Practice what you preach. I love that. The Supreme Court. Would you guys be okay with limiting like why does anybody get to be on a Supreme Court from the start until the day they drop dead? Do you guys have a stance on that?
Yes. There should be term limits for the Supreme Court and it should be expanded.
Ooh, I like that. Instead of just 9 crazy people.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
8
yes.
crazy
Well,
people and
just-
a
But remember,
crazier
the
person.
Supreme Court was created when there were fewer district courts. That's what they were being elevated to. There's 2 new district courts in the United States now since the creation of the Supreme Court, and there are not corresponding justices on the Supreme Court bench to match the new district courts.
Here, I'll give you a quick
So it's just about
just real
keeping
quick,
it consistent.
I'll give an example of the Supreme Court, how they kind of messed up Roe v. Wade. If Ruth Bader Ginsburg, at the age of 86, who had cancer, would have retired under Obama, Obama could have appointed a liberal justice. She chose not to. She died in office, and guess what? Trump, when he was president, appointed a conservative justice. Roe v. Wade ended up getting overturned. So unfortunately, Ruth Bader Ginsburg's legacy, a champion of women's rights, actually just went against her, because had she not just done the honorable thing and not the selfish thing, Roe v. Wade might have not have been overturned.
Yeah,
No, you're not wrong about that at all. I mean, look, Obama had 2 periods where he had a supermajority in Congress, and they could have codified Roe then and chose not to. We all pretty much remember, I'm sure, that very infamous speech where he ran on, I'm going to be, supporting reproductive rights, and don't you worry, everybody. The very first speech he gives is like, that's not a legislative priority now.
Yeah.
And so we didn't get it, and we're going to lose Obergefell as well, I suspect, here in the next couple of months. Iowa's trying to pass a constitutional amendment to ban same-sex marriage, and that'll be one of many states that'll be doing the same thing. And of course, this is a challenge on purpose to bring it back to the Supreme Court that's more conservative now and have it litigated again.
Yeah, it's part of their plan. Yeah.
Well, it goes back to politicians in general just telling people what they want to hear when they need to hear it. You can go back to Hillary Clinton. She gives the public speech, then she gives the private speech. So,
oh my God, stop!
But I'm just saying. But politicians say what's
you're
what's
not wrong.
politically
This is-
expedient.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna bring
Political
back coal
expedience is
mining when he goes to when someone goes to West Virginia. We're gonna bring back coal mining. No, you're not. Coal mining is an antiquated concept, right?
All right,
From
so,
the 1800s.
So Margaret, do me a favor. Give me some ideas. How do you guys differ? And I asked the other fellow this too. How do you guys differ from the Democrats and Republicans? What are some of the things besides climate change that you guys want to do that they're not going to do?
Well, probably the first big one would be Medicare for all, or single payer healthcare across the country. Right? Medicare is maybe not the best program to expand. It maybe needs to be a slightly different program, but the program we have right now is Medicare. So Medicare for all. Healthcare is a human right. We all should have it. In fact, what we should have is the same level of healthcare as the people in Congress who what they have. That should be the same for us. They theoretically work for us, right? They represent us. We should be commiserate with their level of healthcare too. I think we all should have it. It's not, we're in a really weird place right now with COVID and how it's impacting our country and of course all around the world. But and what we have to do as a nation to prepare ourselves for the transition into this new economy where many, many people are going to be disabled from long COVID and not able to really work. And so we're going to have to really think about this. The Green Party has, as much challenge, I think, as anyone else in trying to envision what our new frontier is going to look like in this land of COVID and all the rest. But right now, I think that if kind of like not on the spot per se, but if I were to pick a few issues that differentiate us, it's Medicare for all. That's
getting rid of private health care.
Well, see, I don't think you should get rid of private healthcare either. I think Medicare for all should be for everybody. And if you want private healthcare, then you can get it too.
Gotcha.
I think there's a kind of a misconception in a lot of things especially when we talk about socializing stuff, right? Or nationalizing it, that suddenly nobody can have private this or private that. I don't think that's ever correct at all. I think what we have is a kind of mixed system where we have public education, for instance, right? Like college, let's say. State colleges are free to citizens of the state, but you can still have private colleges that you could go to if you wanted to.
Oh, that's
There's
a good.
no reason
So
both things can't exist.
And that's another platform, right? Is free. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, free education for us all. Yeah, we remember education isn't free like in high school or elementary, right? It's funded by property taxes.
Sure.
But broadly speaking, it's free to us, right? That's how we understand this.
Correct.
And it was done right up to high school because our industry needed more educated workers. Well, that's the same situation we're in right now. We need more educated workers who are college educated. So how do we get that? We do it the same way we did to get educated workers and stuff for our factories.
Yeah.
We incentivize the businesses and then schools become free and then we get quality trained workers.
I mean, some of these private universities have $3 billion endowments, so the money's there.
So here's
exactly.
Here's a question. So every day you see these politicians get on TV and they're always vehemently complaining how things aren't good enough and things are terrible. Like I'm just not all the time, but like Bernie Sanders, he's chronically unhappy about everything. What country right now has like the best model? Like if we could just emulate this country right now, like their healthcare system, like say Norway or whatever, that has why can't we just emulate a country that's already doing something that we want, that what we want to get to goal wise? Like what country right now, in your opinion, is doing things that are ideal to you or more ideal to you than what we're doing right now?
Well, so there's several countries that really are taking, I think, bold steps to address many of their problems. I think, look, I live in Seattle, and there's a pretty well-known issue with homeless folks here. So the city itself hasn't really been able to come up with good solutions. They should have elected me, because then we could have done what I'm going to tell you right now, and that would fix it. Because it's the same thing that Finland did. Finland has solved their homeless problem by reclaiming unused office spaces and renovating them into affordable housing units, and then puts people in it. They were spending about $30,000 a year per person when those folks were unhomed. To renovate those buildings and put people in there cost them about $15,000 per person. So they cut their cost in half just with putting people in there, and they no longer have an unhomed population. And that is a thing we can do in our cities. Not maybe every place in the United States is able to do it, because they don't all have office buildings or whatever, but most of the cities have unused office buildings now. Here in Seattle, it regularly makes the news that our unused office space downtown is about 45% of the office buildings.
Chicago's
that
getting
would
close to
house
that right now.
everybody here.
Yeah, Chicago's getting the same way.
Is the homeless situation in Seattle bad? Like, for example, we always hear about San Francisco, the chronic homeless problem there.
It's rents. So like, we did a survey here in the Seattle King County metro area. Like, why are people unhomed, right? There's a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
Overwhelmingly, like over 85% was due to the cost of rent. It's just too expensive to live.
Agree, yeah.
So that's the problem, which can be solved as well, right? Like so Portugal recently took another step towards addressing this issue. They banned B&B developments and no investment from outside investors into housing blocks.
Right.
So that way they wouldn't just be bought up as investments. Here in Seattle, and I know this is the case in a lot of big cities, you'll have like a company like BlackRock, let's say, come in and buy whole tracts of homes,
neighborhoods, hedge funds buy, and they raise the well, look like Jeff Bezos,
and no one lives in them, right?
Exactly.
They're just investments, and there's no one there, and so it displaces the residents. It deprives the city of its valuable tax base. It's a cancer inside of our cities,
which is ironic because the government always talks about affordable housing. We need to create affordable housing, but yet the complete opposite is happening. Because, like I said, houses are unaffordable due to the mortgage interest rates, and apartments rents are exponentially higher nationwide because the landlords know they can charge more because people can't afford to buy their homes. So you'd think, like I said, it seems like a solvable issue where just build some affordable, like a tiny home community. Something like boxable or something like that, or even like storage containers, turn them into livable, units. And, but there's always going to be that small percentage of the homeless, in my opinion, that, here's the bottom line. You can't help some people who don't want to help themselves. So if they are addicted to drugs or alcohol and can't work and spend their, money, that the stipend they get from the government on whatever.
Ted,
I'm just saying,
I know, but
it's a multifaceted problem. That's all I'm saying. So
it is a very multifaceted problem. All right. So, Margaret, what else? What are the things that stand out that you say, like, these are things that are important?
Well, there's a lot of things I think which are pressing on us as a society, right? And I think when you look at every election cycle, it doesn't really matter what else is going on. The number one issue is always the economy, whatever that might mean, my job, or the lack of raises, or everything is going to shit, whatever people mean by it. And I think that the Green Party economic policy is truly liberatory. We propose, UBI for all Americans of $4,000 a month. It seems like a lot for many people, but this is what countries do already. My friend in Denmark gets $4,000 a month as a disabled person. They do it. These countries can do it. And one of the reasons they're able to do it is because they're not spending their money, for instance, on funding foreign wars proxy wars against Russia,
Like
which
Ukraine?
was a
Yeah.
terrible mistake for us.
How
And we
much have we
should not be doing
how
that
much have we
at all.
spent there? 40 billion plus so far, and
I mean,
that's never
yes.
going to end. That's never going to end, correct?
It's
So,
not going
yeah.
to end. And imagine what we could be doing with these funds, right? Our country, I live in a place where, Seattle is replacing road work and infrastructure that was built in the 1960s. This stuff is 80 years old, and it hasn't been maintained.
We've been talking about infrastructure for years. Here's an example. Michael Bloomberg, a man with great wealth and a very small ego, spends $1 billion to get on the debate stage to finish in third place. He could have taken that $1 billion and built. How many homes could that guy have built for $1 billion for low-income people?
Yeah.
So obviously it was all about him. It was all about him getting his voice heard, getting his 15 minutes of fame. So the money's out there, but unfortunately we're not using it for the right things. That's all.
We aren't.
Yeah.
It's a spending priority issue. It really is just politics in that sense, right?
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that happens is, like you were kind of commenting a bit about this, politicians become career politicians because being a politician at a certain level pays pretty fucking good. I mean, that's just the truth of it.
Look at Bob Corker.
All the kickbacks,
Bob Corker,
all the
worth
rest of the stuff.
$50 million.
The benefits, the pension. Yeah, it's incredible.
Like there's a lot of it. So it's one of those things where you're like, well, why would this politician person not be advocating for our best interests, or why wouldn't they step down out of that role? Well, I've never had $300,000 a year job, but I imagine if I did, and someone comes to me and they're like, hey, what you're doing is kind of unethical or something, maybe you should quit. I'd be like, yeah, maybe you'll pay my mortgage or whatever.
Yeah.
But what are you talking to me about?
Yeah.
And that's, I think, the situation for a lot of people. They get into politics, and if you're in it for long enough, what other skill do you have? And now you're just a politician. And so it's hard to step out of a job, like for all of us, irrespective of the job, step out of something, into nothing or the unknown in that way.
No, that makes absolute sense. I mean, we just heard Robert Melendez, the guy from the senator from New Jersey. He has coats with hundreds of thousands of dollars in them and gold bars.
Yeah.
And gold bars.
Yes.
This is a civil servant.
This is
He's like Dr. Evil.
This is a senator who I don't
They're
think
civil servants.
Yeah.
Let's call them what they are.
Yeah.
They work
He
for us.
said it was an emergency fund, but it was just emergency money he has laying around the house.
Even though
I've seen Jason Bourne. I know what that emergency
even though it has
is.
the Egyptian businessman's fingerprints are all over those envelopes. I'm sure it's just a miscommunication.
Well, here and I'll give you the free advice, Margaret. I'll give you the free advice. If you take a bribe, definitely take cash. Okay, don't take gold bars. It just looks bad, right?
I'm gonna note that in the book.
Okay, there you go. And so let me do this. So I know I just read a story that a Dallas mayor, he switched from Democrat to Republican, just like last week. So let me ask you this: are you guys doing anything kind of on the sly, where you're calling different people from different parties and trying to get them to switch over to a Green Party? And if you're not, and that job is available, I would be more than happy to just call as many politicians as I can every day. I can be very convincing.
Well, your presidential candidate switched parties, right? Didn't he?
So yeah,
West,
we do.
West, what was
we
he?
do reach out to like people who are candidates or who are currently running. Like, so I'll tell you what we did here in Washington State. So here in Seattle, we were having a historic city council election. 7 of the 9 seats were up for election. So huge change. So we developed a slate and we recruited 7 people. I was one of them, to all run for every open seat. So we could have a completely unified front and try and really drive a discussion change here in Seattle. And it worked. One of us made it through into the general, and so she's going to be standing and hopefully winning her seat, and this will be a really big thing for us. But staying here in Washington, there was a Democratic congressional candidate who, y'all probably know already, this is a little bit preaching to the choir maybe, but if you have an entrenched incumbent right from the DNC and you're in a big blue county, no other DNC candidate is going to unseat that person unless the DNC wants them to. So you basically get these guys like here in Washington that have been Democratic senators and congresspeople for 30 years now. They never get challenged because there's no challenger in their district. They're not going to win. Republican isn't going to win. So, if you're a progressive Democrat, you feel really disconnected. we've been calling and contacting a guy and for a couple of years now, talking to him about stuff, and he switched. He came over to the Green Party back in April this year. We had long conversations with him about it, what our platform was, and why we felt like we were a better fit than him trying to shoehorn himself into the DNC, and he did. His name is Jason Call. He's running for Congress here in Washington. And I think that this is the kind of thing we have to do. There are plenty of places in the United States that have strong and entrenched Democratic people, and they're not going to lose to another DNC candidate. So people in those counties typically aren't voting conservative. So where does a challenge come from? Where does actual democracy arise if there's no challenger to your incumbent? Yeah. So I think that the Green Party provides a very essential service in the sense that we are an actual leftist party, and within these democratic strongholds, we can provide a real critique and challenge to the existing power structure. It's not quite the same in Republican controlled spaces, but we present the same option in that regard, because usually Democrats don't win there either. So being a Green Party person is outside that kind of red-blue dichotomy of people just being angry at each other. And, you know, I think that what you really see is in years like off years for the elections, you know, the midterms, we'll often see people vote and be willing to vote for third-party candidates because they want to change, but they become afraid and fearful during the POTUS election and then vote for one of the two because they're not voting for what they want. They're voting for what they're against, what they're afraid of. And I think that realistically, that's what most people do. They say stuff like, oh, that guy is awful. I got to make sure he doesn't get in office or she doesn't get in office, whatever it is. And I'm voting against them. Right. They're not voting for what they want.
Same with Hillary Clinton.
I want healthcare. Yeah. I want a city that isn't broken down. I want a country that, you know, is good in the world. We used to have a good reputation in the world, and that's been shot and it's gone for maybe ever.
Wait, was it Seattle?
But we don't have to accept that. We can change things.
Was Seattle the Chaz Chop Zone debacle a few years ago?
Yes.
Yeah, where basically the not looters, but like basically people took over a couple of city blocks and the police abandoned the neighborhood, or like, allegedly. I mean, I don't know. You know better than me. Yeah. So, but they basically, it was like an autonomous zone for a couple of weeks. It was a little social experiment.
I was there every day.
Okay. Yeah. So,
and I was streaming from it. So like, it was a big, cause like it was a pretty historic moment in my time. And I was like, it's literally my city. How can I not be there? Yeah. Like, irrespective of my feelings about it, it's a historic thing that's happening.
What'd you think of that? What'd you think of that whole?
You know, it was really wild, to be honest with you. Because like the first half of it, like it wasn't the police pulling back, it was doubling down every night. Eventually the National Guard are there. Yeah. Right. And so, and I'm prior military. So, and from serving in the Army. And so I start yelling at National Guard people and stuff. And so we get into a bunch of back and forth like that about halfway. So this is one of those weird things that all came out afterwards. But about halfway through that month, right, the whole thing lasted about a month. The police incident commander for the thing decided that they would de-escalate the situation by pulling all the police off the streets, boarding up the windows of the precinct, and then staging everybody like a couple of blocks away in the Safeway parking lot. That's just, they put a mobile command center there. Yeah. But removing the visible presence of the police on the street completely changed the nature of what was happening every night. Every night it was clashes, right? That same barricade, huge tear gas exchanges, you know, all the time. Yeah. As soon as they pull off, everything calms down. People start walking and moving. There's still nightly protests in front of the police station and stuff, but it wasn't abandoned. They were in there every night. In fact, when I would be streaming like in front of the police station, they would usually walk out from one of the side doors and talk to me by name because they like know all the streamers. Hi, Margaret. I'm like, oh man, don't call me by name. That's weird.
All right, so Margaret, let me challenge you here. Let me challenge you. So you say you get Democrats and you bring them over to your side, okay? Mm-hmm. So you're standing in front of, and I won't say Donald Trump because that's too hard. I mean, it'd be like talking to your shoe. But you're talking to a guy like Ted Cruz, okay?
Okay.
All right. And you want to get him over to your side. Is there anything that you can say? What would you say if you were just trying, if you had 2 minutes to convince Ted Cruz to not be, I don't know, Ted Cruz, okay? To be completely opposite of Ted Cruz, what would you say?
She just said they don't have that much money.
Yeah,
They don't have that much money.
Besides a truckload, besides a truckload of money in a
That's all
really
he's
nice place
about.
in Mexico, yeah.
So, I mean, yes, I have none of this. Here's what I would say almost to every conservative, to be honest with you. So, what conservatives want is to conserve this feeling of safety. And feeling unsafe can arise in multiple circumstances, right? Economic insecurity, social insecurity, whatever it might be. So I would approach, Ted and say something like, listen, Teddy, you fear immigration and you fear the disruption of our society from immigrants who aren't integrating, like whatever. So I can propose a very good solution to halt so much of the immigration that's coming to our country, because those folks are not like waking up in the morning and saying, gosh, the best thing would be, let's just walk 14,000 miles to America and get harassed by border guards. That's not what people are doing. They take this journey because they feel compelled to. And why? Because there's vast climate change problems happening in their countries that are making them very unlivable. Or there's political instability, which the United States is often responsible for, which makes them unlivable. So what I would propose to Cruz or any of these other guys to get them to come to my side would be like, look, I agree that having a whole bunch of people coming into our country who don't really want to be here isn't the best thing for them or for us. So here's how we can help them. Let's enact climate change policies that halt and limit the destruction of their homelands so they won't feel the pressure to leave and come here. This is a thing that would be good for them, and it would be a thing that's good for us. And it makes the conservatives feel safe because their issues are being addressed. And this is a win-win solution, right? This helps everybody out. But we have to really be clear-eyed about this kind of stuff, right? Like, there's a whole bunch of refugees from Syria here in the United States right now. And they're not here because they woke up one day and were like, let's just go. They're here because their country was destroyed by us and other countries as well. But we're culpable for this stuff, right? We have an actual moral obligation to help these folks. So I think that the way we best help these folks is stop destroying their countries, let them live where they live in peace, and help them do that. Then we don't have to have those same issues that these conservatives keep bringing up. But let's be honest and be clear about this. If there weren't immigrants at the border, it would simply be another group of people that the conservatives are targeting to blame the issues on. Queer people, women, you name it. It would be any group. So this is just a convenient scapegoat. But that is what I would say to them. But there's a way to address your concerns of, feeling unsafe in the country and security and all the rest. And it's by fixing the issues that we're doing around the world so people don't want to leave.
Yeah, you would lose Ted Cruz as soon as you said help.
But the counter argument to that is like, look at say New York or Chicago where we are, that says, hey, we're a sanctuary city. So basically Greg Abbott, as you probably know, bust a lot of immigrants from the Texas Rio Grande border to New York, and within like minutes they call the National Guard. So the question becomes, we welcome immigrants, but now we can't handle them. We've reached capacity. That's what they're saying right now in New York City, out of all places. So that's kind of but here's the thing too, when you bring in a bunch of people in the country, and I'm saying they're not bad people, they're not criminals.
No, Teddy, I'm going to stop you right now.
Okay.
Because no matter how you finish that sentence, it's going to make me look like an asshole, and I won't. No.
Oh, you already
know.
Okay.
Enough.
Sorry.
Enough.
Yeah.
No, okay. Listen, Margaret, I want to thank you for being on. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Your timing's impeccable.
Yeah, my timing is absolutely impeccable. There was no way that sentence was going to end in anything other than a lot of bad stuff on Instagram. Okay. Yeah, I could see it already. Yeah. I could absolutely see it already. So, Margaret, thank you so much for being on.
My pleasure.
Yeah, we really appreciate
it. Thanks for your insight.
And I would say that and hopefully you would agree that if you're one of those 47% that don't vote and you hate everybody, that's cool. Just go out and vote for a Green Party person. Go out and vote for any third party, so that we can have more than two voices, because those two voices are not.
No, and we've said that we just need more choices.
Vote them
out. That's
out.
the bottom line. We need more
vote
choices.
Them out.
Yeah.
More choices is better.
More choices is better.
Yeah, because if every day was chocolate or vanilla, you'd probably kill somebody for strawberry at some point. So think about that.
Or pistachio.
Yeah.
Oh,
and the way we get there is, by implementing ranked choice voting all across the country, right? And you can do that at the state level. The federal government doesn't have to initiate these kind of voting changes. They can be done at the state level. Ranked choice voting for all Congress and senatorial seats on down. And then that's just how we do it. We form right now. You probably know that there's a thing called the Interstate Compact, which needs like 3 more states to join. And if they do, we'll all switch to using ranked choice voting for the Electoral College instead of the way it's done right now. And this is a thing states can do on their own. We don't have to let the federal government like slow us down on this stuff. And I really believe that that's where we can make a bunch of changes. Like, look, we legalized marijuana here in Washington state. It's now getting legalized all across the country. And eventually, like, it's ridiculous now, as we all broadly agree, that the federal government hasn't already made it legal. It's just ridiculous. And so we have to have the groundswell push from the people to demonstrate this is what we want, and we're going to do it without you. And the federal government will come on board because, look, Washington's made a ton of tax revenue off that weed money. Same thing with Colorado, same thing with Oregon, every state that does it. It's the same reason they taxed alcohol. And it's the same reason that many states are the only purveyors of alcohol in their states. So they get all of the revenue from it.
Matt was right about one thing.
What's that?
Just one thing.
Margaret can talk more than we have to ask questions. Isn't that what you told him? You're like, Matt said, Margaret guaranteed me that she could talk more than we can ask. You can cover a lot more than we can ask, and you. Yeah.
No, but you're right.
Good stuff. I love it.
It's only illegal if the government's not getting their cut. So as long as it's being taxed, then it's okay. So there's another thing that
I love it.
Exactly.
I love
Cool.
it.
As long as
All
the government
right, Margaret, thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Thank
we
you,
appreciate it,
Thank you.
and good
Thank
luck.
you.
The next
Yeah.
thing you run for, and your party, good luck to everything. We really
Thank you
hope
so
we
much.
get some
Yeah,
more
good luck.
choices.
Thank you.
I'd just like to encourage your listeners to vote. Like, the classic definition of a fool is a person who has agency in the political realm and can vote for the laws that impact them and chooses not to. So we can all vote for these people and we can all impact our lives directly. And even if you think the Congress or the president is a dumbass and it doesn't matter, vote for the local elections, vote for the school board, vote for the librarian, vote for those people. They impact our lives far more than we initially suspect.
Well said.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Margaret. Have a good
Bye,
one.
everyone.
Take care. Bye.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Wow.
She just said what I was telling you guys.
Yeah, I got to
It's
vote.
not just about federal. It's about vote. Just
I gotta
getting
vote,
out there
too.
and vote.
You know what? I'm voting. I'm literally voting for third-party people. For everything.
Judges,
Yeah.
judges, whatever.
But how do you vote for a judge? You don't even know who they are.
No, well, you have to look. I mean, I do because I do
Judge-
the research.
Judge
It
Judge
takes
Mills?
a few minutes. No,
Judge
no,
Mills?
there's a process. There's a process. The AMA and the Bar Association, they recommend that there's a process, and some judges are approved and some aren't. And basically, anybody that's running that is not that hasn't met the qualifications, they can still run to be a judge, but you shouldn't elect.
Do
them.
I trust those qualifications? Do I trust
Well,
this guy approving? I mean, like, what if Ted is in
Well, it's
charge
not
of that?
political. It's not political.
Yeah,
It's
who's
just they're
approving?
paying him.
Who's
They're just-
approving? Yeah, who's
No.
approving what?
No.
What if the people doing the approving are incompetent?
Yeah, that's
Or what if
what
they're
scares me.
what if they're in bed with the people they're approving?
Yeah.
It's like a good cop, bad cop. Oh, we
Well,
approve this guy.
maybe
But you know
I'm
what?
saying it wrong. I'm using the wrong term.
No, I
Not
get what you're
approved,
saying.
it's qualified.
Yeah.
It's qualified or not qualified. So there are people that run to be a judge that are not qualified.
They're not lawyers.
No, they're lawyers, but they could still run to be a judge, but they're not qualified by the standards set forth by the AMA and the Bar
Oh,
Association.
like to be a judge at like a circuit court judge.
Correct.
You have to have so many years and
Right.
do so many
but
things.
I
and
heard-
these
have
people
to
aren't
qualify.
doing
I
it.
heard you get appointed to the Supreme Court without even being an attorney. Like they said, like Obama said, he could have appointed himself to the Supreme Court. So is that true? Or he's an attorney, I guess. But
No, you know how you know that's not true? Because Donald Trump would have appointed himself to the Supreme Court. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
You know what he would have said?
One person now.
I am the most qualified person to do it, and now I am the president and the Supreme Court.
So this is a true story. So there was a judge. She's a 96-year-old woman, and I guess she refused to take a competency test. So and she's like a federal judge who's been there for like obviously 50 years, and so they like whatever the Bar Association, whatever state she's at, is denying her to hear cases, and so she takes the competency exam. But goes to her point about term limits. You shouldn't have a 96-year-old woman being a judge. I don't care how sharp she is.
No, term limits for everybody.
Term limits.
If it's an elected position,
65 or 70, you're done.
You heard Margaret
You're
say
done.
that they have term limits inside their own party.
Yeah.
to do things.
Yeah.
I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean, I know why you wouldn't do that, because Ted Cruz is some kind of jagoff who's been doing this for 20-something years, and the people of
How old is Ted Cruz?
yeah, the people of Texas are happy with him. Here, Greg Abbott, the
governor of Texas.
no, who am I thinking of? I'm thinking of the assistant attorney general
Paxton,
Yeah,
who got acquitted by the
that
Senate.
guy's a piece of shit. He's a flaming piece of shit. And they just his own guys just let him go
you
free.
know what a piece of shit looks like.
I know. Oh, man, you ain't kidding.
Speaking of shit, you were in Wisconsin shit. You stepped in a lot of
you know
shit
how much
today.
Paxton I stepped in? Yeah, I stepped in like
You're an expert on shit.
Yeah, I cleaned up so much Paxton in the last 2 days. It's not even funny. But yeah, I mean, it's so obvious. But yeah, here's what I would say: if you don't vote, if you're like me and Ted, you know what? The next election, go vote, and go vote for not that person. Go vote for anybody
I'm not
else.
going to vote for somebody locally, who just maybe does something reasonable. So here's the thing: I would just say to all these third party parties that I didn't say on the air to when our guest was on. But you can't just hang your head on one little small segment. Like climate change is good. But that can't be your main platform. You have to, if you want to win a general election, you have to appeal to the
they have a lot
population.
more. That's just their
main
big
thing.
talking point, and I get it
because they're the Green Party. Yeah,
right, and I get it. You have to have something you focus on, and
I get it. Yeah,
you're beating a dead horse because 99% of Republicans think that coal and natural gas is clean energy. One state is calling natural gas clean energy. Well, we know it's not.
Right.
We know it's not.
Fracking's terrible for the environment.
It's fucking horrible.
Yeah, you know what you're doing? You're injecting detergent into the ground to squeeze out whatever oil that you couldn't get through regular drilling, and it's really bad for the environment.
Did you see that thing with the drinking water in, I think it was Texas or Oklahoma?
Yeah, it was
the
coming
farmers,
out flame.
Yeah, so the farmers, they were saying that their water was safe, and so they had a town hall meeting, and they had these big corporate, these guys from the fracking industry sit down, and the farmer brought the fucking water that was coming out of his spigot and said, "Drink it. You told us we could drink it. Would you drink this?" And it literally looked like gasoline. It was disgusting. Yeah. And the video's out there. They called the guy out. The guy's like, "No,
of
like,
course
you're
not.
the one telling us to drink it.
Well,
this is what you're doing to our water."
Tell the mayor of Flint to drink the water. He's not going to do it. He knows better.
Have you heard of Seaboard? They're the biggest hog producer in the country. They've been around forever. Yeah. So I guess because the feces that the hogs leave with these hog farms, it just devastates like whatever environment they're in, and
it kills.
Yeah, it's just the methane gas that produces. Yeah, so I mean, they're a huge polluter.
Well, why do you, Teddy, why do you think that's one of the reasons that I'm a vegetarian now? That I've cut my meat. I mean, I've cut my meat consumption by like 95%.
That sounded kind of.
Okay.
I didn't want.
Yeah, and not in a sexy way, not in a sexy way at all. But I mean, that's part of all the stuff, and I mean, it's like one of the things Margaret said, like. It costs $30,000 to have a homeless person. It costs $15,000 to find a place for them to live. It was cost effective for them to rehab these places, to spend a little bit of money up front,
especially
because you're spending long-term money.
That's the song and dance with everything.
Especially the existing unused housing. So I agree, like these office spaces where no one's returning to work, use these office spaces as housing. Yeah, you could take these buildings, you could take abandoned schools, anything, warehouses, turn them into cheap, community housing for people who choose to live there.
But it's that's not the only solution for that. I mean, I'm sorry. There's the solution for healthcare too. The cost of uninsured citizens far exceeds the cost it would to have them getting good healthcare. I mean, the uninsured are the reason why our healthcare is so expensive.
Well,
they have to account for everybody that's not paying.
Well, goes back to people who don't. Number one, the other thing too, people who don't take care of themselves, who make bad life decisions. I'm not saying people who get cancer through no fault of their own, but people who go out of their way to to live like a high risk lifestyle and become ill, and then who use exponentially more resources than say someone who's healthy with the healthcare system. That's a factor too. And here's the big problem too. Every country, like I said, rots from within. So we can only print so much money. So, I mean, it's okay now, but say in 20, 50 years from now, when we keep printing all this money, because as you probably know, the U.S. went off the gold standard back in 1972, which means that the dollar that we make today is just backed by the full faith government of the United States.
Ted Cruz.
It's an IOU. So basically, the more money we print and the more money we print to say send to Ukraine, our dollar just becomes more worthless. That's all it is. And so it might not happen today, but it'll definitely happen in the next 50 or 100 years, where the dollar is going to be like Germany back in the 1930s, where inflation, it's going to be hyperinflation. It's going to run rampant. So it's just a matter of time. You know, and that's why the government hates crypto. That's why the government is scared of crypto, because crypto is not tied to the U.S. currency, and the government can't control it.
No one's scared of crypto. It's bullshit.
It probably is, but
it's complete and total bullshit.
But the point is,
Ted, how much money have you lost in your crypto? Because I've lost all of my money.
$5.
Ted, you lost all of your
I'm going to get it all back tomorrow.
You are not.
I'm going to get it all back
But,
tomorrow.
with the healthcare thing, it's that thing where if you take care of it at the age of 15 or 20 or 25, it costs a lot less, right? Unless you wait until they're 45, and then everything is more expensive.
Well,
so
it's the uninsured.
Right.
It's the uninsured,
right?
basically.
And it's us not being able to take care of simple things
Yeah.
that are easy to fix in the beginning.
Preventative health care.
Yeah, preventative health care is huge.
So people who make poor lifestyle choices, for example.
No, it's not. No. You're looking at blaming people for being sick.
No, not all people. Just some people.
But there's things that you can fix.
Sure.
Early on, that are a fraction, 10% of what it's going to cost in 20 years when somebody who hasn't been to the doctor in 20 years goes in, and now it's a major, in the hospital instead of, a little bit of this or a little bit of that or, anything preventive or even before you get prescriptions or anything else. There's a lot of things you can do to take care of things early. But it seems like because we only have two parties and they fight about everything, they short-sightedly pass over lots of good ideas.
Logical
ideas, yeah. Because
just to spite one another.
To spite. Just to spite each other.
Well, it's obstructionist is what it is. Obstructionist. Just we're gonna say no just because you want this. So for example, even if it's a good idea for everybody, because it's not coming from you, we're going to say no because it's coming from you and not from me. So it's really not about the people helping the people collectively. It's about,
I'll tell you a thing. And I'll just use Ted Cruz as an example, and I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to guess that on a regular basis, if Ted Cruz sees a gay couple or a transgender person, he does not call them names, treat them like shit, do anything out of the ordinary to them in any way, shape, or form. Okay. But he's more than happy to stand in front of Congress, right, and say terrible things and enact or try to enact terrible ideas about them.
Well, he's a weasel and he's a coward. That's why.
Right? But that's the thing. I mean, in his regular life, when you start doing this stuff,
if you really believe it,
yeah. So he doesn't do any of that stuff, right? Like 90% of us don't do any of that stuff. All that stuff we see is just those weird people who just can't deal with life in any way, shape, or form.
Well, it's like the California Party, representative who was here a couple of weeks ago, and he said like their main platform is like a marriage should be between a man and a woman, and even if he's right, but I mean, but is that your main? Is that the main thing that's going to help everybody? Is that the hill you chose to die on? Not healthcare, not crime, not.
It's a bad hill to die on.
Yeah,
it's a tough hill to die on.
Yeah.
You have something fun to talk about?
Yeah.
You mean, do I have something a little bit fun to talk about?
Fun
you seem like you're so joyless right now. You seem
politics,
somewhat joyless.
Yeah, politics.
I feel joyless.
Man, so a non-political thing.
Nothing. All right.
Ted,
final thoughts.
Let's talk about the Bears. They suck, and I'd love to see them go 0-17. I would laugh my ass off.
Are you going through all your notes and you got nothing else?
You know what? I mean, the only other thing I have is something that is semi-political that I didn't know existed.
Well, let's talk about how this town is torn.
Rat City.
Yeah, Rat City. No, all I'm hearing about right now in Chicago for everyone around the world is about the goddamn Chicago Bears. I want this to end. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
But you have to. You're here.
It's like a train wreck. You can't look away.
Is it like this in any other country where the entire city is consumed by a sports team that's not doing well?
Are you saying soccer teams that aren't doing well?
Yeah.
I mean, soccer is the most popular sport in the world.
Yeah. Cricket. I thought.
Can you imagine when your home soccer team has been and they get relegated, right? So they have levels.
Well, there's like death threats. I mean, like if you lose a game, I mean, there's like I mean, the referees get death threats. I mean, there's like they're not messing around.
Yeah, but there's like 4 different levels of professional soccer, like worldwide, like European soccer.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so there's the high end one, which is like Manchester U and
I got you. Yeah.
Right, and then when you lose, if you're the worst team, you get relegated down to second level. You can get relegated down to third. You can get
So
relegated.
you can have like a team that you're rooting for your whole life, and all of a sudden now they're like in a minor league
They're in
division.
the minor leagues.
They got designated for assignment.
Yeah. I mean, you don't even get to. I mean, the only time you would see them is if they're playing at home. There's no more of
man.
that. I mean, could you imagine?
That's why
if
they
we
throw
had-
money at all the stars because they don't want to get relegated.
Right.
They'll
right.
do anything
Could you
in their
imagine
power
if we
to-
had
yeah.
baseball, football, if there were 3 levels of professional baseball?
Well, there are. It's called double A,
when you're
single A,
the
triple A.
worst team,
Yeah.
when you're the worst team, I mean, think about how much more money these teams would spend and how they wouldn't, you couldn't lose 120 games and get the first pick in the draft. Nobody gives a shit about that. There is no draft. Nobody gives a shit about drafts. You just are relegated and you become unimportant. You become the minor leagues and nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
That's I mean, what we have now, our team sucking and getting the best college player, that's a pretend thing in soccer.
Yeah.
And cricket, that's a pretend thing that doesn't exist. Here's what happens. You don't become important anymore.
Well, all I know
Imagine
is
the Bears.
the Bears haven't
being
won a game.
unimportant.
The Bears haven't won a game in a year. 11 months is the last time they won a game. So they've lost 13 games in a row and have not won a game. Matt Eberfluss, the current coach, who probably won't be the coach for long, is 3-17. Worst. He's the worst coach ever in Bears history.
Is he related to
That's-
He's
Eberflus?
almost-
worse than Dick Duran, worse than Mark Trestman,
That
worse
seems
than
impossible.
worse than all of them. Yep,
He's
he's the
so,
worst.
So, yeah, for those of you who don't know
Just
anything
FYI.
about professional football, don't know anything about the Chicago
American
Bears,
football.
yeah,
I didn't know that
American
either.
football.
Yeah.
The names he is saying, they are horrible.
Yeah.
And to be worse than the worst is
He's the worst.
I mean, yeah. Maybe we need relegation.
You know what's great? Mark gets to go to all the games.
Yeah, you're an idiot.
I have to go Sunday.
You are an idiot. And
Sunday fun day.
Have fun.
All right.
Hey, I'm committed, man. I'm
yeah.
committed.
You are. You
Have
should
me
be
committed,
Yeah,
yeah.
you should be. All right. So we do have to put this thing to bed because we had Margaret on for a long time. I love that. All right. So Teddy, last thoughts.
I actually enjoyed listening to Margaret Elisabeth, and I actually learned a lot about the inner workings of politics that I wasn't aware of before.
Me
so
too.
I appreciate the education. Thank you.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff I didn't know about. Mark, last thoughts.
Yeah, I agree with Ted. I appreciate the education.
Yeah. I mean,
No,
it's
it really
crazy.
was. Yeah, there's some insight there. That's pretty cool. I still think that the Green Party could serve this country and the world better if they weren't concentrating on becoming politicians, though. That's just my take. It's a losing proposition. They need 5%. They're less than. They're a half of 1%.
Are they half of 1%?
Yeah.
half of
I didn't know
1%,
that. Yeah,
and
yeah.
they've been a party for. I mean, it's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Well, here, let's.
Unfortunately,
I'll tell you what. Let's
they can
let's
get
make
things
it
done
happen.
doing it a different way.
Got to change your
So
game
what
plan.
we have 30. I think the last week was 33,000 people who listen to this show. Now, mind you, a lot of them don't listen in America. So we got a lot of people who listen overseas.
I love you,
Yeah,
world.
but for those of you who are in America and you're like me and Ted, you don't vote, okay? Change it up and vote for not, if you don't want to vote at all, if you hate both candidates, vote for a third party so that they can get
writing candidate
on the ballot.
Writing
Yeah,
candidate.
so they can get on the ballot.
Local level, not just
Yeah,
federal.
yeah.
They
And-
have
and-
local because there's
And
chapters
who
in
knows?
every state.
Yeah, who knows? In 10 years, 12 years, you don't know. Maybe we could have, 5 people, 5 different parties, 5 different voices up there who want to become president. Don't listen to, if you don't do this, then that guy. No, that's not true. That's not true. There's half the world, half America doesn't vote. So those have a lot of power. So empower yourself and get other people. And maybe, just maybe, you'll get that voice that you want. Okay, maybe it might not be the Green Party. It might not be the American Independent Party. Okay, but there's got to be a party out there that you like. Just fucking vote for them and get them up there and see what happens. What's the worst that could happen? The exact same thing?
I now have 4 registered voters in my house. We just got our voter registration cards yesterday in the mail.
Congrats.
So my 17-year-old has his voter registration card now because he's going to be 18 in March. So the presidential election is in November. But the
2024,
primary is actually 6 days before his 18th birthday. But because it's in the same calendar year when he turns 18, and we're a primary state of Illinois, he gets to vote in the primary.
I remember voting for my first presidential
Oh, me too.
election. I was
1992.
fucking pumped, dude.
92.
I was so pumped.
Yeah, we
to
talked
vote.
about
Was
this
that
on the
Clinton?
show.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah,
that Clinton?
Clinton.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, I voted in a bar.
You voted in a bar.
Yeah, that's our polling place was a bar.
I'm going to vote in a bar tonight. I am. I'm going to vote for a lot of things. You know what I'm going to vote for? A second and third cold.
All right, let's
cold
go.
beer.
Let's
All right.
go.
All right. Listen, thanks so much. everybody who listens, and like I said, I think what did I say? 33,000 people
Wow.
last week.
I didn't just last week.
Wait,
Wow.
what? Whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, whoa. Say that again.
33,000 listeners last week. Is that crazy?
And they all called me out?
No, only
this-
about 20,000 called you out. No, it was hilarious.
Well, I barely said
Dude.
anything today, so I don't think I said anything wrong, Ted.
Yeah.
You didn't say it. You weren't mildly offensive tonight, so you're
Yeah,
okay.
we'll give you a chance. We'll give you a chance to really shit the bed next week because we don't have any guests.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah,
I like it.
no guests
like
next
you
week.
can ramble on incoherently as much as you want, Mark.
And
So I got to do a movie thing?
you're doing a movie thing.
Okay.
And 2 weeks we're gonna have Steph. Oh, I'm gonna say this wrong. Steph Saffron from Steph in the City. She is a dating expert, and she is gonna help people become better dates and
Chicago
get more
girl,
dates.
too.
Yeah.
She's a Chicago
Yeah, it's a
cool.
Chicago company, and
Cool.
it is huge. And man,
Actually,
she
I
can talk.
I googled.
She can talk a lot.
I googled her company, and it is one of the top dating websites in Chicago. Locally in Chicago. Yeah. It's like in the top
she's
3 or
been
5,
on
yeah.
tons of things. So that's
Yeah.
in 2 weeks.
Cool.
So I'm really looking forward to
Yeah.
that. You know, listen, if we can help people anywhere, I got to tell her that we got a lot of listeners in
We're-
like India and
we're
Australia
here to
and
help.
stuff. Yeah, yeah.
It's all public service announcements here.
Oh,
Most of
you
them.
know what? The Real Three. We'll see you guys next week for the Real Three Idiots. Just helping you live a better life. Take care.